Hey everybody. You know what? Let me lose the shades. That would have driven me insane. My old job, once upon a time, as a racing analyst slash host, like no dark glasses on the air. But hey, everybody, it's Jason, Joe, and Tommy. Welcome. You probably know where I am, and I guess out of the three of us, although Tommy, your apartment in Kentucky looks pretty solid. I was going to say I probably have the best seat in the house, but dude, that giant game saddle towel, it hits me the right way.
I know. I mean, even though I guess we just sold him for 160, it was, but I don't think this is gonna go anywhere anytime soon. It's got a special place in my heart for that horse, so I think it'll stay up for a long time.
Oh, great memories. I mean, he had a wonderful career with us and for us and the Outlaws, and wish Giant Game all the best. I'll never forget him running so well in that 2021 Breeders' Cup Juvenile out at Del Mar when he was third behind Corniche. We've got Joe Bianca in the house. Joe, smooth train ride south, back down into Penn Station, I hope, for you and your fiance.
Yeah, no, it was a great week. Lots of great partners on the grounds. Some really good action that we're going to get into. Back home in Brooklyn, having a little bit of FOMO now, I think.
Yeah, I get it. Definitely spoiled to be up here for the summer, but you'll be back. You'll be back in no time, and we'll have Tommy up here. So I'm gonna share my screen, and we're gonna optimize it for video. And let's bounce over to, and I hope everybody's doing well. Thank you for stopping by. Let's tee up Battle of Normandy. We won our first race on Sunday, late Sunday, seventh race here at the Spa. Joe, I'll turn it to you. You were here. The ride by Flavian was just a thing of beauty.
Guys, he's the best in the business to me. I know IRAD wins the Eclipse Award every year, but I think Flavian's got one coming. He Battle was throwing his head around a little bit early, and Flavian really got him to switch off. Obviously, had that beautiful pocket trip, inside out trip. And he's a great finisher, and it was awesome to see. I thought after the last race we might keep him at mile and an eighth. Stretching him out to a mile and 3/8, a little bit of a question mark, but he hits the lead here. A little worried about the horse coming up to his inside, but Flavian and Battle finished the job, and that was just a super exciting win. Had a lot of great partners on hand for that victory, and it was especially great because he was the last starter of the week. We had some horses run well, some horses run not so well. It really felt good to get off the duck before the first week was up.
A lot of pressure off for sure. Ran great, 90 buyer, beat a very good horse. I stopped by to see Shug this morning, and I'm like, Shug, what do you got anything in mind for Battle going forward? And he's like, Jason, the horse hasn't even cooled out yet. I'll come up with something. I was like, okay, I'm not sure where we go with him, but clearly, Tommy, you've got to be thinking a return to graded stakes is in order after the way he's returned to the turf this year.
100%. I mean, I text you after the race thinking, we're trying to think of spots where we could send him. I would personally and selfishly like to see him go back to Kentucky Downs. I know he ran well there last year, or maybe it's 2 years ago. Escapes me, but he likes the track and he's in great form. And it'd be even better if we can get Flavian to jump on a plane, come down and ride him there for some big money.
Yeah, he's given us some great rides. I know Joe, again, after the race, everybody was on cloud nine, had a huge turnout, and Joe's like, he's the best rider in the country, and it's hard to argue with how well he's ridden. Now, let's bounce over to Colonial Downs a day earlier with integration. I felt bad, guys. I mean, just again being candid, I felt bad for Colonial. It's like their second biggest card of the year, their Arlington Million prep day, and of course weather and rain was the focal point. And as a result, the Millions preview scratched down to a field of three. But Joe, it didn't matter for integration, who, I mean, that explosiveness, that turn of foot that he has and he's capable of. I mean, it's a thing of beauty, isn't it?
No doubt. I mean, he's just a gorgeous horse to watch run. And these fractions for the yielding turf were pretty quick, like 48-2, 111-3. So these horses were really running. He was obviously, it was only 3-horse field, but he was the only one who had any gas left at the end. And he and Kendricks just seemed to get along so well. I'm glad Kendricks back aboard. And, we talked about this before. He's just the kind of horse that needed a little bit of a confidence builder. He had that great start to his career last year, had a couple of starts this year that didn't go so well, either bad trip or just kind of flat in the stretch. He's a horse that needed to blow some like cheap, not I'm going to say cheaper, but some lesser horses away and just get that confidence back and be ready to jump back into grade 1 company, which he's going to do next time. It was awesome to see.
Yeah, no, I'm a big integration fan. I have been since, well, the night we bought him. Geez, what was that? 2021 as a yearling right across the street here. He's now 4, of course, and I still think there is a lot of untapped potential with this guy. 100 buyer, so even like Joe touched upon the fractions, you see them and you go, huh, I wonder how soft or yielding that course was, because it's not like they trudged home. And I felt the same looking at the buyer figure that he got. He got a 100. We've got the Arlington Million in his sights. And Tommy, the best part about it is I was just talking to Kendrick literally 20 minutes ago here in the Saratoga grandstand, bumped into him, and he's like, Jay, I'm telling you, integration, maybe 90% ready to go of what he's capable of. So, considering Shug didn't have the screws fully tightened, Tommy, I think that's a scary but great sort of proposition to have in your mind moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, well, first off, it's great for us, scary for anybody else. Get a horse running 100 buyer on 90%, where he's kind of been off form, if you will, for a while. So he kind of makes you think, what's 100% when Shug really cranks this horse and really gets him ready to go for the Arlington Million? What's that going to look like? In my mind, I think I'm already drawing up a picture of what that looks like. So hopefully it comes to fruition. I'm really excited because this horse is very deserving of that grade 1, and he's just been beating on the door for a while. And I think it's time that he gets it.
Definitely. So the Arlington Million up next for integration, who's safe and sound back home at Fairhill. Shug this morning mentioned his blacksmith is going to take a ride down on Friday. A new pair of Nobles, getting some new shoes or maybe some Nikes there for integration in a couple of days. And yeah, glad things have sort of rebounded in a big way, and good to see him getting his pick taken. Let's bounce back over to Saturday, guys, here at the spa. Our first 2-year-old Saratoga starter. And although Joe and Tommy, we didn't win this race, I think looking at the response from not only, the West Point team, but the partners that were out, you would have thought we won because, I mean, dude, I was over the moon with how well Joe Moment's Notice ran. He did everything right in this race.
Yeah, he was really good. It's not easy breaking from the inside. The one horse just kind of beat him to the lead. So he got, I'm not going to say shuffled, but he got relegated in behind horses. He took dirt, tips out professionally, turning for home, switched leads on cue. And there was a point in mid-stretch where it looked like he was flattening out and he was going to get beaten like 6 or 7 lengths. And I love to see him put his head down again in the last furlong and still keep coming. Only got beaten about 2 lengths on the wire. And this, we talked about it before the race. This looked like a very, very live maiden race. You would expect that for the first Saturday of the Saratoga meet. This is what I'm talking about right here. When he just starts trying again in the last 16th of a mile and gets closer. We've been high on him, but you never know until those gate doors open. I was shocked he was 16-1. Like, I thought he would take a little bit more action than that. I don't think we're going to get that price next time. But yeah, there's nothing to complain about from this effort. And it's just so cool when your first 2-year-old starter of the meet runs well. It gives you hope for the rest of the meet.
And he bounced out of the race in good shape. I stopped over and I saw Miguel Clement this morning, and Miguel said, all is well with Moment's Notice, and strikes, I think, all of us as the kind of horse for his second start, not only just having that educational debut and run under his belt. Tommy, he's probably a horse that is going to be very appreciative and just simply a lot more comfortable in a longer race than what he had to do here on Saturday.
I agree. That was the first thing I thought after watching that race, watching him close in on those quick fractions. And like Joe pointed out, right when he hit that 16th pole, the way he closed really got me excited because I was just kind of expecting them either to back up. I mean, they went 45 for the half, so it was like I didn't really expect much from him there, and then he really bellies down and gets after it. So I think the extra ground later on in his career is really going to be helpful for him. And he showed a lot of heart today, and that's something that none of these trainers can train. It's just something that comes to the horse. So if you can get the talent and the horse has some heart, just like he showed, could be a nice horse. It's something to always look forward to.
Yep. So regarding and just putting a ribbon on the other weekend Saratoga starters, Northern Invader tried like he always does on an impressively hot, sticky, and sultry Saturday. And he tried. He was third best in the Kelso. As I was saying before the race and certainly after, truth be told, had you lined up the four horses in the Kelso, had them, stand in a straight line and had them run in a straight line, I think Northern Invader would have been third behind Carl Spackler and the runner-up. I think that horse's name is Talk of the Nation. So we were third behind two horses that are probably on the cusp of being Breeders' Cup Mile quality. And I think Cherie wants to give Northern Invader a little bit of time, just a couple of months to recharge his batteries, and we'll look forward to seeing him back later this year in cooler weather. Tough spot, Joe, on Sunday for Sunday Tiff. What were we, 30-1? In fact, what were we in that race? Did we get that high?
34-1.
So yeah, we were even over 30-1. So ultimately, and we haven't talked about this. I think personally she's made in special weight quality. I do. I just feel this time of year, out of town probably is going to be the way to go if that's what Tom Morley wants to do.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think these Saratoga main races, like that horse who won that race is a staked horse. There might be a couple other horses who step forward and compete in stakes off of that. Honestly, it's obviously not my decision. I wouldn't mind seeing her try dirt at some point. She's by Connect, who was a dirt influence out of a Malibu Moon mare. I know we wanted to get her going long first time out. That was one of the reasons that we tried turf with her. So I wouldn't mind seeing her get a shot on the main track. But yeah, I think Monmouth or Colonial, one of those tracks, is probably the way to get her maiden broken, just because these Saratoga main racers are such killers. And I didn't love the way she was traveling on a turf course. I thought she was bobbling a couple of times. Maybe it's just something she doesn't appreciate that grass course as much as she did the one downstate. So yeah, let's find her a new location and try to get that maiden broken.
All right, so a handful of horses, and well said, and I agree on all that with you. Regarding official entries, we've got a handful of runners ready to see action beginning Friday with Lady Mia. I didn't spend too much time on the race, but I glanced at the PPs. Looks like Tommy or Joe, did either of you guys maybe not do a deep dive, but did you check out the first race at Monmouth on Friday?
Yeah, I took a peek at it. I think there is some speed in the race, so I think she might need to lay off a little bit. That's why I was so pleased last time to see her be able to switch off under Irad after breaking so sharp and be able to make that run inside of horses, because I think there is a good amount of speed going 5. I'd love to see her just get that little 2-3 lengths off the pace, 4th, 5th trip. And I do think she's the class of the field, but it's just a matter of working out the right trip from the inside.
And then we've got 3 shug horses entered. Coastal Long will run on Sunday at Laurel. Dripping Gold, of course, one of our old pros, is running the same day as Lady Mia on that Haskell Eve at Monmouth Park. Happy Gray, your neck of the woods, Tommy, give or take, at Ellis. And Tommy, along the lines, you've got Signator. I asked Shug this morning, I'm like, hey, Shug, when's the last horse because he ran opening day, of course. I'm like, when's the last horse you ran back on only pretty much like a week to a week and a half turnaround? It doesn't happen often, but that's what we're doing on Saturday with that big gray horse.
Yeah, and I was a little bit surprised when I saw him pop up the entry box, but horse comes out of race good, in good shape, and they're healthy, ready to go. Why not run him back? And I'm excited to get him on the grass here. I did a little bit of looking into some of his siblings. He's had a handful of siblings that seem to take a liking to the grass, so I wouldn't be surprised for him to take to it. But the race itself, it came up pretty strong. I mean, honestly, looking at it, it could probably be a stakes race or even a graded stakes race somewhere that if it was ran anywhere but Saratoga, if you run that race probably here at Ellis Park in Kentucky or something, it's probably a grade 3. There's a lot of really nice horses in there. So it'll be a good litmus test to see how well he can hang with some of those big dogs on the grass, but I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I mean, something's got to give, and the thought is, and I guess at this point, I know that famous Wall Street phrase or quote, like, there's no strategy in hope. Like, hope is not a strategy, but at this point, I'm hoping he just really wants to be a turf horse. So good luck to Signature. Good luck to our horses and partners that are based on the other side of the country. We've got Del Mar opening up on Saturday. Cajun Gold, it was announced a day or two ago. We're going to wait for the turf maiden race. So he'll run the second Saturday of the meet, but Scatify, Soho, Indispensable, all those horses will see some action out there. And, you know, just prepping the weekend to an extent. Joe, you're going to be at Monmouth, of course, for Lady Mia, dripping, and then very practical on Saturday. They haven't drawn the Haskell yet, but I want to get a quick take from you guys, each of you, starting with you, Joe. Thoughts on, and we don't know who exactly is in the field, if Rapoli is going to run Fierceness and Mind Frame, but where's your head at this early juncture regarding the Haskell on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, I got to see when they draw the race. It looks like it's going to be a pretty short field. Sees the Gray was going to be in there, but now he's going to reroute to the Jim Dandy. I don't know. The Haskell is just one of those races where I feel like speed is king. It's just if you have a closer, you're just up against it from the start. So I want to see the field. I want to see who I think the controlling speed is going to be. And then it's, you know, I in general, I'm not in favor of betting the Haskell horses back in the Travers just because it's a completely different ball game. 1.25 miles, a much more tiring track at Saratoga. So we'll see what we get, but you know, it's going to be fun. I haven't been down to the Jersey Shore in a long time. It's going to be, hopefully it looks like we're going to get some nice weather, and it's always a great day down at Monmouth.
Yeah, good. I'm glad the forecast looks great, because that's a day they pack the rafters. I've never been to a Haskell day, so little jealous. Again, you talk about FOMO. I'll be watching and rooting for Very Practical in our 2 on Friday from afar, but I'm glad you're going. Tommy, what about you? 3-year-old picture. We've got the Jim Dandy on Sunday this weekend in Saratoga, Sierra Leone. What do you where's your head at in terms of the 3-year-olds?
Yeah, it's hard to say, but you just mentioned Sierra Leone. I think he's due for a big one. Horses just come up just this close in so many different spots that I started telling myself, you know, horses like that are just due. At this point, he kind of reminds me a little bit of Tacitus, who was obviously a very nice horse, but he never really broke through with a huge, you know, grade 1 winning streak. I think Sierra Leone could be sitting on top of one, and you know, if he goes and dominates Saratoga this summer, I think he throws his hat right there in the ring for the Eclipse Award.
Tell you, the Triple Crown was phenomenal this year. I mean, the stories from Mystic Dan and that crazy 3-horse photo, Derby Day, and then you had, of course, D. Wayne, the coach, upsetting the Preakness with Seize the Gray, your Belmont Stakes in Saratoga, which was novel and amazing, and it turned out to be a tight race and finish between Dornock and Mindframe. This is a 3-year-old crop that I think lacks certainly a leader at this point, and Superstar is a little too strong. I think as a whole, with all due respect, it's a group of horses that are, you know, again, looking at history and taking like a macro approach, a pretty average group for the most part. However, like, we could really be set, Joe, for an entertaining, not only Haskell, Jim Dandy, but the second half of the year with the 3-year-olds. Like, who's going to step up, or is there somebody waiting in the wings that really hasn't been on the big stage? Like, who's going to step up?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the good part about having it kind of be in flux going into the second half of the year is you're going to get a lot of full fields. Nobody's going to be ducking anybody. everybody's going to think that they got a chance if they get hot in the second half of the year to win that Eclipse Awards. You're going to get a lot of full competitive fields, I think, down the stretch going to the Breeders' Cup, and it's going to be exciting from a betting standpoint and just from a fan standpoint to see how it all shakes out. Because, you know, like I said, there's no monsters to run away from. Everybody's got a shot.
Beautiful. Well, good luck. Speaking of everyone having a shot, that'll be, I think, a good segue into wishing the entire stable and our partners the best of luck, not only kicking off the first full week of racing in Saratoga on this Wednesday, July 17th with Del Mar, and of course, a big weekend at Monmouth Park. So we will sign off. Always good catching up with you, Joe, and certainly you, Tommy. Can't wait to have you guys back home in Saratoga with me and, of course, the mayor of Saratoga, the one and only Tom Bellhouse. And any closing thoughts, Joe, Tom? Any words of wisdom from either of you as we sign off?
No, man, it was just a pleasure to be up there, a pleasure to see all the enthusiasm from the partners as always. And yeah, let's keep it rolling.
Yeah.
Jason,
What about
keep
you,
bringing the
Tommy?
winners home. Keep bringing them home, man.
All right, good. We'll build off Battle of Normandy's big run on Sunday, and we'll catch you next time on WPT in 20. See ya.
See you guys.